When Jungkook of BTS steps into the public eye, the world doesn't just watch, it reacts. His presence has always been larger than life, but his latest comeback has carried a different kind of weight. It is fiery, unapologetic, and undeniably loud, yet what has captured as much attention as his return itself is the silence surrounding it. HYBE, the powerhouse behind BTS, has chosen not to loudly broadcast or pre-announce certain moves this time. Instead, the agency seems to have deliberately stepped back, allowing Jungkook's actions, music, and aura to speak on their own. For many fans and industry observers, this unusual quietness has raised questions. Why is HYBE silent? Why now? And what does this mean for Jungkook's journey as both a global icon and an individual artist carving out his own identity? To understand this comeback, one must go back to the months of anticipation that preceded it. Jungkook had been away from the spotlight long enough to create an ache in the hearts of fans worldwide. His absence wasn't indefinite. Everyone knew he would return. But the gap was long enough to make every rumor, every whisper, and every small public sighting of him trend on social media. That absence itself became part of the buildup, like silence before a thunderstorm. When he finally reappeared, it was not with a whisper, but with a flame. His performances, his styling, his confidence, everything felt amplified. This wasn't simply Jungkook returning to fulfill obligations. This was Jungkook reclaiming a stage that he had never truly left, but now on his own terms. HYBE's silence in this context begins to make sense. In past BTS promotions, HYBE had orchestrated elaborate rollouts, teasers, schedules, countdowns, carefully timed press releases. But with Jungkook's comeback, the lack of such predictable announcements has actually heightened the impact. Instead of treating this return like another line on the company's calendar, HYBE's choice to remain mostly silent turned the spotlight entirely onto Jungkook. It forced the narrative away from corporate machinery and back onto the artist himself. The story became, Jungkook is back. Watch him. Listen to him. Feel him. That silence is also a strategy. In the entertainment world, silence can be louder than words. It builds mystery, speculation, and anticipation. Fans begin to create their own stories, and the media begins to dig for its own interpretations. By stepping back, HYBE avoided overselling Jungkook's comeback. Because overselling is unnecessary when the world is already hungry. Instead, HYBE let the demand build organically, knowing well that when Jungkook reappears, he doesn't need a push, the audience pulls him. But silence isn't only about marketing. There is an emotional layer too. For Jungkook, this comeback feels deeply personal. It is fiery, not just because of its visuals and sound, but because of the weight it carries. Silence from HYBE might be their way of respecting that. For once, it is not about an agency packaging an idol for the world. It is about the world meeting the raw version of Jungkook that he wants to present. The fire here isn't only in the music, it's in the independence, the freedom, the quiet rebellion against expectations. His artistry has matured in ways that silence amplifies. Take the performances. His stage presence feels sharper, his delivery more confident, his visuals striking in a way that speaks of self-awareness. Jungkook no longer looks like the youngest BTS member trying to live up to a global stage. He looks like an artist who knows he belongs at the very center of it. The silence surrounding his comeback forces the world to notice this transformation without distraction. There's no loud campaign to dilute the message, only Jungkook, front and center. Of course, fans have filled the gaps that HYBE left. Online discussions have speculated endlessly. Is HYBE silent because they are holding back bigger plans? Are they intentionally letting Jungkook test his power as a soloist without their constant hand? Or could it be that Jungkook himself asked for this approach, wanting his comeback to feel different from the highly orchestrated group projects of the past? Each theory adds another layer of intrigue, feeding into the sense that this comeback is not just an event, but a mystery unfolding in real time. From an industry perspective, HYBE's silence can also be read as confidence. Only a company that knows the scale of an artist's power would dare to step back at such a crucial moment. In many cases, silence would be risky. It could lead to missed opportunities or a lack of momentum. But with Jungkook, the opposite is true. His name trends with or without campaigns. His music reaches millions without excessive advertisement. His image carries enough gravity to fuel countless articles, videos, and debates. Silence, in this case, is not neglect, it is proof of trust. Trust in Jungkook's ability to carry the comeback on his own. The fire of this comeback is also felt in the way Jungkook has embraced bolder choices. From his styling to his choreography, from his music direction to the way he interacts with fans, there is a noticeable shift. He seems more unapologetic, more daring, more willing to test boundaries. This is not just the Jungkook that fans have loved for years. This is Jungkook evolved. Silence has created the space for that evolution to be noticed. Had HYBE filled the air with noise, schedules, and promotional clutter, these details might have been lost. But in this quiet backdrop, every move he makes becomes amplified. It is also important to note the emotional undertones for the fans. Many feel this comeback is not just about music, but about connection. After a period of distance, seeing Jungkook return feels like a rekindling of a relationship. The fire is not only on stage, it's in the hearts of fans who waited, who speculated, who kept faith during silence. HYBE's quietness may have frustrated some, but it has also deepened the emotional payoff. When silence breaks, the sound is louder. When distance closes, the embrace is stronger. It's worth noting that silence as a strategy is not without risks. In industries like K-pop, where momentum is everything, silence can sometimes be mistaken for negligence. Fans could have interpreted HYBE's quietness as indifference, and the media could have criticized the lack of promotion. But in Jungkook's case, neither happened. Instead, the opposite occurred. Silence fueled demand. This reveals something larger. Jungkook's personal brand has grown beyond the need for traditional promotional cycles. He is no longer dependent on schedules and press releases. His presence itself is the event. That is a level of power that very few artists, even global ones, can achieve. If we frame silence as power, then fire becomes identity. Jungkook's fiery comeback is not just about aesthetics, it is symbolic of his artistic identity, burning brighter, freer, and more untamed than before. His visuals have leaned into darker, sharper styles. His performances are infused with a boldness that feels almost defiant, as if he is challenging expectations. His music is layered with emotions that suggest both vulnerability and strength. All of this combines into a fire, one that is not chaotic but controlled, deliberate, and intentional. There is also a cultural layer here. In Korean entertainment, silence from agencies often indicates transition or recalibration. It is rare for an idol's comeback to be underscored by quietness, unless there is trust that the artist's own gravity will carry it forward. HYBE's silence, therefore, is not just about Jungkook as a soloist. It reflects his status as someone who can transcend the structures of K-pop promotion. He is no longer just a product of the system, he is a force that bends the system around him. From a fan perspective, this fire resonates emotionally. Many fans see Jungkook's journey as a mirror of their own growth. They watched him debut as a teenager, grow through years of intense schedules, and now emerge as a man who owns his artistry. This fiery comeback feels like a culmination of that journey. HYBE's silence has allowed fans to project their emotions onto this comeback without interference, making the connection even more personal. The silence left room for fans to write their own meanings into the fire, and in doing so, the comeback became not just Jungkook's story, but theirs as well. In the broader music industry, silence can also be a disruption. Western labels often rely on calculated campaigns, but the most impactful comebacks in recent years, from surprise albums to unannounced singles, have shown that disruption works. Silence creates the conditions for surprise, and surprise fuels headlines. By staying quiet, HYBE and Jungkook positioned this comeback not as a routine release, but as an event that demanded attention once it finally arrived. It was not noise competing with noise. It was silence breaking into fire. The exclusivity of this approach cannot be ignored either. Not every artist can afford silence. For many, silence means being forgotten. For Jungkook, silence is the opposite. It makes his return unforgettable. That exclusivity speaks to his unique position in the industry. Few can command attention simply by existing in the public's imagination. Jungkook is one of them. When analyzing HYBE's silence, one must also consider the possibility of long-term planning. Silence now may be part of a larger arc, where the fiery comeback is only stage one. Perhaps the company is holding back major moves, knowing that Jungkook's fire will sustain attention long enough to build anticipation for what's next. Silence, in that case, isn't just about now, it's about later. It's about creating a rhythm where loudness and quietness alternate, each amplifying the other.